The same with the ad agencies. You hear a lot of people bagging ad agencies, but the reality is, ad agencies, like for me, have been hugely supportive over the years. They go into their client, they sell me into their client, they beg for the client to say, use this guy. Um, from my point of view, I'm a huge friend of the ad agency model. And at the same time, we've got a lot of direct clients that don't want to do the ad agency thing because it costs them more, and they're looking for the bargains. So there's that catch-22 either way you look at it, and who knows where this business is going. It all looks very leery. I've been hanging out of a lot of those helicopters and trucks and crane vehicles for years now, so it's all a bit boring now. But at the time, when you first started using a helicopter years and years ago now, and the arm cars, they were a tiny bit intimidating for that first couple of times. But you realise that you're just going to make sure that if you're going to do helicopter work, you just got to make sure you've got the best pilot in the world in that seat.
Right.
Don't skimp. You might be able to find the cheaper helicopter guy down the road, but that $1,000 extra for that other guy is going to give you 10 times better shots. Your safety's going to go up a lot higher in the way of, are you going to crash or not? Yeah. You're not pushing past that pilot's expertise, like he knows what he can get away with. They know they've done filming before. They know where the camera is placed in front of the chopper. They know how to fly backwards. They know that they can skim across in the long grass at a foot off the ground. All these things. So you just got to make sure you find the right pilot for that job. With an armed car, especially, there's a lot of people have raced out and bought armed cars, but it takes years for these guys to get proficient in them as well. Yeah. Swinging the boom and everything, it's very dangerous. They've got to have very good spatial awareness and joystick control, and so you don't take out a power pole or a pedestrian and all that sort of stuff. The driver needs to be aware of everything as well. Where is the crane at that particular time, so he can help the guy in the back swinging the crane. Yeah. And I've got to be very conscious as well as the operator. I've got to make sure that the driver knows exactly the speed they're doing, what we're doing. We've got to have communication with the car that we might be chasing. So we're talking to the car, we're talking to the safety guys. We've got the first assistant director in the car. He's sort of managing everyone else around that, so we don't have cars flying into our scene, which we could crash into. It's a very complex little machine that you need to have a lot of hours in to make sure it becomes safe. And safety is everything.
Yeah. Yeah, have you done, I saw someone commenting, and I'm sure it was a Super Cheap ad that I saw recently. Have you done many of the Super Cheap commercials over the last few years? Because they've gotten quite elaborate.
Yeah, they have, haven't they? No, it's a young fellow down in down the Gold Coast, Alan Hardy, I think his name is.
Okay.
And he's got a really good deal with the Super Cheap guys, and I think he just goes crazy. And yeah, I do worry for him, actually. I do hope no one gets hurt, but he seems to be doing it all well, and his spots look great and lots of action, and we do a lot of that stuff, but not in one commercial. So he's got a great client that's allowing him to go nuts. Do you know what I mean? Crazy. And it's very rare to get clients like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a lot of clients around the world which they just go, well, we do this and they love it. Do this and they love it. But he's got I had a Yamaha client for many years, for a decade or more, and we would go out and shoot these amazing Yamaha commercials, all around the place. And that was a great client because they just let you do your thing. Once ad agencies trust you and the creatives on that job trust you, they let their hair down and you can actually do a proper job. But it's but you got to earn that trust.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you don't earn that trust, then there's 1,000 voices coming at you with and next thing it's just the job turns into a mess because there's 10 directors on set, all of their ideas, and it slows the whole thing down and it's all over.
You can't shortcut experience. You know, even just all my years of working in different business development type sort of roles and things like that. You know, listening to you talk and thinking about, you know, where I was at when I ditched my corporate career and decided I was going to try and get into filmmaking, which was a journey of the last, 12 months before COVID, I suppose, 18 roughly months or so. It was that sort of challenge of trying to find clients who'd be willing to spend the dollars that I thought that I needed to actually create a job that I could actually be proud of, you know, whereas when you're in your situation, you've done a lot of these things, so then it's going to make it a lot easier for you to be able to sit across from somebody if they start saying, oh, we could just hire someone, you know, as you say, with the Sony A7 out the window or whatever, and you're like, yeah, okay, but, you know, like the odds of you getting the great result are going to be much, much lower, and you're able to talk through some of those mechanics and justify, hey, this is why we're going to get the proper armoured car with the crane, with the operator, and those sorts of bits and pieces.
Oh, look, you know, end of the day, it's all about money, right? If the client wants to pay top shelf, you give them top shelf. If they want to pay crap, you give them. They end up with crap. Yeah. And you know, there's a lot of people in the industry now. Like a lot of kids have come into the ad game, and they are selling themselves very shortly. You know, I mean, their prices will never go up because clients already know that they can get that kid for $1,500. You know, to edit and everything, supply gear, the whole box and dice. So that client will never give that kid a better job. Do you know what I mean? He's now ruined his price or his value forevermore. And you know, it's sad to see. I've been trying to mentor a lot of young kids about making sure you charge correctly, making sure to be safe. You know, a lot of these kids race out, they haven't got insurance on their shoots, they've got nothing. Like, there's so much liability and problems that could come and bite them in the ass, you know, by not protecting themselves in so many, you know, areas. But that's the world of television now, right? You know, back in my day when I started, I only really had to compete with 4 or 5 people in Brisbane. Now there's thousands of people in the marketplace to compete with. So the only thing that you've got to rest on is your body of work. And you've got to just think, all right, does the client want to bargain because he's always going to go that way to that young kid with the A7S, or does he want quality? Do you know what I mean? So it's not like you should dish or be upset by any of that. It's just, you know, people have different expectations. People can afford different things. You know, it's. I think, you know, people are just balancing their whole business life and structures. So you've just got to fit into their. If you want to do work for that company, you've got to fit into that company. The same with ad agencies. You know, you hear a lot of people bagging ad agencies, but the reality is, ad agencies, like for me, have been hugely supportive over the years. You know, they go into their client, they sell me into their client, they beg for the client to say, use this guy. You know, from my point of view, I'm a huge friend of the ad agency model. And at the same time, you know, we've got a lot of direct clients that don't want to do the ad agency thing because it costs them more, and they're looking for the bargains. So there's that catch-22 either way you look at it, you know, and who knows where this business is going. I mean, like, you've got to try not to bite that hand that feeds you. You know, like, I would never work for a company, like if they go, well, I work for this ad agency, and this ad agency's introduced me to them and all that. There's no way in the world if they rang me directly and said, oh, we're going to push out the agency and can you do the job directly? I'll go, oh, fuck, no way. You know, that's not going to happen. Because that agency is going to give me a lot more work than you are over the years. You know what I mean? Yes. So you got to respect that. So the only way I'll do that is if they officially sack the agency, fine, I can do it, but I'm not going to be part of that political mess. That, you know, everyone should just play nice and be respectful of everyone. You know what I mean? Yeah. So definitely. And it happens a lot. You know, we get a lot of direct phone calls from clients all the time. We go, no, we can't. You know what I mean? They're just trying to cut the middleman out. But as far as I'm aware, ad agencies have a really good place in supplying a service. The companies should just recognise what that service is, and if they don't want to pay for that service and they don't need that service, then yeah, that's fine. Go and call filmmakers directly and do it yourself. But they it's I'm not going to like I said, you'll never hear me bag an ad agency.
Yeah, no, I think that's very wise. And again, having all those years of sales experience and now being at the point where I'm pretty over the sales side of things, I'd really just prefer to, I thought I just want to do creative stuff, because I was like you, I did a lot of creative things when I was younger, and then I kind of parked that for the large part for 20 years or so, while I was working in corporate jobs in Brisbane. And I kind of, for the last 6 years of those, I got involved doing a lot of recruitment for advertising agencies and marketing, and doing marketing people both in-house or agencies. And I really liked the agency people. Like, this kind of felt like a natural sort of connection there. They were just, I like that kind of little bit kind of zany, out there, charismatic type. And I don't know, it was just when I started to learn about filmmaking and doing video and what have you, I actually just started because I wanted to create a YouTube series. This was going back 2 or 3 years ago. And the more I learned about stuff, I was just thinking, just loving this, and then I'd watch a tutorial, or, I'd watch someone talk about, some technique or something in After Effects, and I think, I could probably do that. Like, I'm not going to remember how to do it straight off the top of my head, but I think with enough goes, I can figure it out. And even like you're saying, just taking on some jobs and then figuring out what I needed to know. And normally being fairly upfront with a client to say, they might go, could you do this? And I'll be like, well, I haven't done it, but I reckon I can figure it out. And I loved it. So, I think it is fun.